Finally, we have here the 6th episode of Gaming Wars, a series that looks at gaming, where it came from, how it's changing today, and where it's going in the future. As I've said many times before, the series will eventually end with the current console leaders, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, as well as the state of mobile, computer, and platform gaming. Use the links below to watch a different episode, or search for Gaming Wars on YouTube, but the best experience comes from clicking these pop-ups from a computer. Most of all, don't forget to subscribe with email notifications and follow on Twitter for updates. Let's get started. The 6th generation era was the beginning of convergence in consoles. They were turning into media hubs that played DVDs and could go online. The winners created consoles that provided interactive entertainment for gamers and passive entertainment for the family at loss-leading prices. Most families watched movies and TV shows together, but video games wasn't really a family activity. The demographics of gamers didn't change much, but in the 7th generation console era, the key to success was figuring out a way to turn non-gamers into casual gamers. In other words, somebody had to figure out how to grow the gaming market. Sony, the console leader, focused all its resources on a plan for a new custom hardware architecture. This benefited Sony by creating developer lock-in, forcing programmers to focus their limited resources on the PlayStation ecosystem, while at the same time making it more expensive for them to port their game to competing hardware platforms. During the PS2 launch, Sony, Toshiba, and IBM began a 4-year secret $400 million project in Austin, Texas. They wanted to make this new cell processor the main architecture for consoles, in the same way that x86 and ARM architectures dominate computers and smartphones. So IBM agreed to do most of the design and manufacturing, while Toshiba and Sony sent over their engineers to ensure a PS3 launch for Christmas 2005. But then Microsoft sneaked up and asked IBM if they could make the new chip for the upcoming Xbox 360. After checking with their own legal team, IBM showed Microsoft the designs to the cell core, and next thing you know, they had a deal.
Wait, what? How could Microsoft get the designs to the new PS3 cell processor?
You see, the original 3 partners agreed to let IBM sell parts of the architecture to other clients, and Sony made a big mistake by failing to consider that IBM might use Sony's R&D money to help its competitor. But there were bigger problems for the gaming market overall. There were actually fewer new gamers. Around 2007, the growth was shifting towards casual gamers, who preferred games with simple rules and less commitment. The most profitable games had pick-up-and-play type game design. So while Sony was building and Microsoft was annexing the next powerful architecture designed for core gamers, Nintendo was preparing to focus on an even bigger market. The Nintendo Wii was the first console to launch in North America first. From this commercial, you can see that Nintendo focused on a broader demographic of non-gamers and casual gamers. At first, developers were skeptical, but Shigeru Miyamoto argued that power isn't everything for a console. Too many powerful consoles might fight and hasten their own extinction. And like we saw in past episodes, Nintendo had powerful franchises of its own that could keep the Wii interesting, fun, challenging, and fresh for the whole family. So 3 years after its launch, in the middle of the Great Recession, Nintendo dropped the price of the Wii, included a new game in a bundle, and set a record for the most consoles sold in a month in the US.
Wait, the PS3 and the Xbox are way better for gamers. Graphics, hardware, everything is better. How could this happen?
Most controllers and games have a learning curve. The Wiimote uses built-in accelerometers and an infrared sensor bar to determine location in 3D space. What this controller did was open up gaming to more people by translating common gestures in everyday life into actual game mechanics, so that almost anyone in the family could pick up a controller and start playing right away. In the meantime, Microsoft was working hard to bring Sony's secret PS3 cell architecture out to market before Sony, and IBM engineers helped Microsoft out by hiding their work on the Xbox CPU from their Toshiba and Sony partners. And then it was about to get worse for Sony. While IBM delivered both CPU designs on time, there was a manufacturing problem in the first run of PS3 chips. Microsoft planned ahead. They had a backup third party fabricate the chips in time for a launch a full year before the PS3 was even ready. To help out, Microsoft focused its first party titles on the strength of the Xbox platform, first-person shooters.
Product not yet rated.
I have a rendezvous with death. And I to my pledged word am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous.
And while there were a lot of other types of games, the best-selling franchise during this generation of consoles was this epic and addictive franchise. The first-person shooter genre relies heavily on the strength and reliability of Microsoft's superior Xbox Live infrastructure. You could download game demos, movies, and TV content. Gold members could take full advantage of online gameplay, and today users get access to almost 30 million songs with media integration on Microsoft Windows 8 computers and Windows phones and tablets. By the time the PS3 came out a year later, Microsoft had already shipped 10 million units. And even though Microsoft tripled its install base, it came at a high price. You had the Red Ring of Death, scratched discs, and then way too many versions of the Xbox came out later to try to fix these problems. Then finally, Sony launched the PS3 with a new unified gaming network and connectivity to its handheld gaming consoles. The PS3 was also a big weapon in the high-definition optical disc format war. But at launch, the buzz was all about the new multi-threaded CPU, dubbed the Cell Broadband Engine.
Meet the Cell Broadband Engine. It's the digital soul of the PlayStation 3. And though it may look like an ordinary microchip, it is the future.
However, since Microsoft got its hands on the architecture first, game designers could now easily make games for either platform. What ended up happening is that many game developers focused on the Xbox first, and then ported their games to the PS3, ignoring many of the advanced features. Still, Sony showed off the power of the PS3 with its own first-party titles.
We will triumph. In the end, there will be only chaos.
No diabolical warlords?
No. Not going down there without some hardware.
Go talk to that rug merchant we just passed.
No guns, weapons.
He's not really a rug merchant.
Oh.
And role-playing games could stretch out on the higher capacity Blu-ray discs.
Even in this metropolis lies darkness, untouchable by divine light. That is, those who disregard the teachings of God.
The more advanced features of the PS3 made the console the most expensive unit initially, but with later versions, Sony was able to use die shrinks to bring the cost of the PS3 down and make it lighter and more efficient. So with the Xbox 360's hardware issues, and the PS3's high price and network security concerns, many turned to Nintendo. The Wii created a bigger market of gamers. New game mechanics made it easier for non-gamers to play games. But among core gamers, Microsoft tripled its install base, while Sony was cut in half. Both companies recognized Nintendo got it right, and eventually came out with their own 3D motion controllers, with the Xbox Kinect holding the title of the fastest-selling gaming peripheral device. So although Sony dominated the 5th and 6th generation of consoles, Gabe Newell, co-founder of Valve, a major game developer we'll talk about later, described the PS3 as a total disaster. I think it's really clear that Sony lost track of what customers and what developers wanted. To make matters worse, if the Japanese economy continues to deflate, both Sony and Nintendo might continue to have a bad time. Even though console games were getting better, the 7th generation market experienced the slowest growth rate. Many more options for casual gamers started coming out, and the massive expense of developing console platforms, coupled with the global recession, resulted in fewer gaming and hardware choices for core gamers. And powerful mobile devices are becoming good enough to satisfy casual gaming demand. In the future, consoles will also need to become better media hubs for music, movies, and TV, while also leveraging existing devices for more functionality and gameplay if they hope to survive. Because there are some challengers coming to the big three in the 8th generation console wars, as the living room has become the next frontier for innovation. So stay subscribed as we go over the announcements coming in 2013 and continue this Gaming War series. As always, leave your feedback down below, and thank you guys for all your support, especially since I haven't been able to put out new videos frequently. But I hope to change that now that the holiday season is over and I won't be working as much. If you're a new viewer, please like, comment, share, and subscribe with email notifications to join this channel where we try to keep up with innovation everywhere and the companies behind it.
Time to go. Okay.